Today we're going to be talking about Iron Age accessories, Macassar ebony and coconut wood spearhead plectrums, as well as the bone and horn Jazz RL plectrums. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. We'll talk about first the Macassar ebony and the coconut wood spearheads. The thing I like about these is I love their shape. I love how fine pointed the tips are. Number one, while I was playing, I noticed that it gives me nice, fast, and accurate playing when I'm plucking the strings, especially if I'm doing the triplets. These are amazing if you're doing a lot of fast pizzicato picking style. Another great thing about this is they're lightweight, and yes, they are made out of wood, but they're very dense wood, so the wear on these are quite minimal. And trust me, I put them through a little test, grinded them down on the strings, hammered them in, and they held very nice. I bet these are going to be lasting me a long time. So let's go ahead and break down the coconut wood plectrum and the thing that I liked about it most. And now this is going to go specifically about the coconut wood, and we'll go a little more into the Macassar ebony. First, if you notice, the lighter area, the coconut wood, at least the ones I had, they had a natural concave. It added extra grip and stability, which was fantastic because these picks are quite lightweight. And that was kind of the issue that I had with the ebony, is that yes, it does have these really cool carved designs, but they didn't quite do anything for the grip. I found that the ebony would slip through my hands because, again, it is a very dense wood, so it is quite slippery in the hands. But the coconut, because it does have that natural concave, it fit just perfectly in my thumb, and you're able to choke up on the tip a little bit more as well, especially if you're into the pinch squeals. The thing that surprised me most was the difference in tone between the ebony and the coconut. I was shocked at how wide of a difference it was. You couldn't quite tell so much in the distorted sounds, but when you were playing on the clean channels, and especially on an acoustic guitar, I found that the coconut spearheads were a lot brighter. The notes were a lot more articulated. They had a lot of attack. But with the ebony, it has more of a smooth, rounded out tone. I wouldn't call it soft necessarily, but it didn't quite have the amount of attack on the coconut. Now, my preference for when I'm playing on the dirty channels on my electric guitar is I'm going to have to go with the coconut. I just love the amount of attack and that really clear and articulated sound that I get. Now, the ebony, don't fall it short, but I think the ebony shines on the acoustic guitar or a clean channel. I highly recommend both of these. They're excellent. I have nothing but wonderful things to say. Moving on, let's go on to the bone and horn Jazz RL plectrums. The thing I like about these, the Jazz RLs, is the shape. They're very thick, they're very wide, but they're also a little bit lightweight, so they're very comfortable to play with. The cymbals add a nice grip factor as well. I found that there was quite an amazing tone difference as well between the horn and the bone. The bone I thought was a little softer, had a little more warm, rounded out tone, whereas the horn was very bright, it had a lot of attack, and it sounded beautiful when playing on an acoustic guitar. Now, even though I do like these, the shapes, in comparison to the spearheads, I would say these probably suit more to, obviously, the name gives it away, to jazz style playing or an acoustic guitar. I wouldn't necessarily recommend them if you're going to be doing a lot of triplets or pizzicatos, whereas the spearheads are phenomenal at that because of their fine points. These ones are a little bit rounded. So yes, you can do them with a little bit of practice, but I found that I wasn't quite as accurate or fast in doing the triplets as I was with the spearheads. Now that we've briefly gone over the bullet points of the spearhead and the Jazz RLs, I'm sure you're all wondering, is this worth your money? Short answer, absolutely. There are a few things that I did not like about the spearheads as well as the Jazz RLs. Probably the only dislikes I had for the spearheads was they felt small. They are very similar in size to the standard guitar picks that you would find at your local music store, but because of their light weight, they somehow felt small in your hand, at least in mine, and I have very small hands. But do I think that that's a buyer beware? I don't think so. Of course, everyone's going to have an opinion of their own and the preferences that they like. The only cons I can think of for the Bone and Horn Jazz RL is just with the shape, you don't get quite the amount of accuracy when you're doing the triplets. Honestly, other than that, that's all I can think of. They sound amazing, they play amazing, they feel amazing. I recommend, especially if you play a lot of acoustic guitar. The tones that you can get out of the horn especially. Horn's probably my favorite on the acoustic guitar. It just sounds phenomenal. So that's it for the brief rundown of the ebony and coconut wood Spearhead plectrums, as well as the Bone and Horn Jazz RL plectrums from Iron Age Accessories. As always, please subscribe to my page, like and share the video, and I'll see you next time.